coming up to Origin 1 up in Queensland. The first game's up there. Can you give us a rough scoreline and who'll win?
I think Queensland will win by 8. I think New South Wales still have a combination. They don't know who they're going to pick. Queensland know. We spoke to Mel the other week on Triple M, and he just said, mate, it's the same side, there's no mistakes. I asked him, mate, you must be dizzy with GI and Billy. I got no headaches. Billy will be fullback, Greg Inglis will be in the centre, Daly Cherry Evans will be at number 14, and Cooper Cronk. So he's strong, he's very loyal. So the side will pretty much stay. You'll have Scott, probably Nate Miles up in the front, Cameron, you'll have, you know, Sam and all those regulars there. I think there's probably a room for, so Corey Park will be there too. I think there's Dave Taylor, Gillett, maybe Aguera, those guys that are fighting for the last sort of bench spot. Hey, what about New South Wales? Who do you want to see? Who is a must to be picked for New South Wales?
A must? Well, Jared Hayne, I believe, is going to be. He's the bloke that's going to, I think, create the most opportunities. If he's at 1, the halves pairing, I'm very unsure about who to go in the halves.
You don't play Jared Hayne at 6.
No,
you play him at number 1.
I play him at 1. Yeah, I don't think he's. You know, he did play very well in the World Cup in the 3 or in the centres, but I just don't think he's coming up against Queensland here. I don't know if his fitness, his repeat effort on effort is going to be where it needs to be in regards to defence. So, and fullback's his favourite position. He's good there. He's proven there. He's proven on the wing, but I think fullback's his game.
Hooker, Robbie Farah hasn't played. We just spoke about.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
mate, he's been out.
Well, if Robbie wasn't injured, he would be my pick. But with the amount of weeks he's had off now, and the way Mick Ennis is playing, and Mick's been there and done that before and played very well for New South Wales. I think Mick Ennis could be a bit of a bolter over Farah. I prefer Mick's defence over than Robbie Farah's, but I prefer Robbie Farah's creativity out of dummy half than Mick Ennis's.
Right. The halves. Who is number 7? Mitchell Pearce. So who's number 6?
Well, we'll have to see what happens with Mitchell Pearce with his little incident he's had. So if Mitchell Pearce isn't there, I'd have Maloney at 7 and put Reynolds at 6. Josh Reynolds at 6.
No John Sutton?
I like John Sutton as a player, but I think he's too in and out of a game, if that makes sense. For an Origin, you've got to be up for the 80 minutes. You can't sit back and watch for 10 minutes and play that type of footy. So as good as he is for South Sydney, Origin's a different game, and I need him on the ball a lot more than what he's doing at South.
Who partners for Feeder in the front row, or is for Feeder not your starting front row?
I like Feeder off the bench, just with he's a bit of a hard man to handle. So his fresh legs up against a bit of a tighter Queensland side will be more of a benefit to us, I think. Woods and Tarmow. I think Tarmow's playing some good, better footy now for North Queensland. Woods has played well all season, so they're my first 2 starting front rowers. Back row, I'm starting to like a look at Josh Jackson on one of the edges. Last year I didn't think there was talk about him going in last year, but I was going nah. But this year he's impressed me out of sight. He just looks fitter and faster this year.
He's probably your best back row at the moment, and I know you end up picking on names, but I think him, Gallen and Bird are your 3 back rows that are in form.
Well, Bird's got to be in there, and Gal will go in easy. So it's just finding that other back rower / front row. Big T-Rex.
Would you pick T-Rex?
Well, on yesterday, on the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, yeah, he's been playing well. But again, he's another one of those John Sutton-like players where...
Yeah, but you can use T-Rex for 15 minutes. Is 15 minutes of T-Rex important in New South Wales? When the game's in the balance, or 10 minutes before half-time you throw him on, when it's 8-all. Oh, jeez. I don't know. He's worth it, isn't he?
The way he's playing now, yeah.
Because there's one guy...
We got Merrin. I'd have Trent Merrin in my side somewhere on the bench, just again with his footwork and his offloads. He's proven to be a handful for Queensland in the past, so Merrin will be on there. My reserve 9 or half or hooker would be if Pearce and Maloney are in the halves. I think Reynolds